Alrighty. Okay, guys. Well, let me just get this on the other screen here. Hang on. Alrighty. So, yeah, we got a couple of people on board. Looks like very different topic today. I'll give it a minute or so people can come on board. And that said, as always, I'm always curious where you guys are from and if you can hear me okay and if you can see me okay, right? So please give me a comment whether the audio and the video is okay. And yeah, I'd love to hear where you guys are from. Hey, Jazz, how are you? Thank you. Hey, Fixter. You did a good job on the 3D model of, what's his name again? I love that show. Yeah, you know what I mean. Audio's great. All right, cool. Okay. Well, you guys saw the title of today's video, the mindset of a 3D artist and how not to, how not to lose it. Yeah, Peter Griffin, exactly. Before we get started with the video, just a couple of things as a disclaimer, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a shrink. I'm not a therapist. I'm not here to fix you, heal you, or anything like that, right? This is purely about sharing experiences that I have myself while dealing with clients, while dealing with fellow 3D artists. And as you may know, I do a lot of consultancy work where I do one-on-one coaching for 3D artists. So that's what I'm going to be talking about a little bit, right? So what do I mean by losing it? Well, that can be anything from losing your interests, losing your focus, being bummed out, being stressed out, creative block, anything like that, right? So the way I would like to describe it is you get thrown off track. You have a goal in your head and you want to achieve that goal and it's not going the way you want it to go, right? Whether that is, getting hired by a studio, finding the right client, finishing your education to become a 3D artist, getting the right hardware, getting the right software, anything and everything, okay? So that's kind of what we're talking about. Now, one of the reasons I love doing these live streams is because of the interaction with you guys, okay? So I would really want to stay on topic. I see some questions about what software. I'm not going to go into that. I want to stay on topic today. Before I dive in, please let me know if this topic makes sense to you, if you think it's a good idea to go into this, if you recognize yourself in any of this, and we'll go from there, right? Feel free to ask questions and all of that stuff, right? So give me some feedback, guys. Okay, cool. Totally on point, great.
Sorry, I don't understand.
That's so funny. My Google is going off. All right. Yeah, I guess, most of you know about this. Now, let me give you an example and let's see if this resonates with you, right? So you're on a ship and you get into a storm and the ship sinks, yeah? So you find yourself in the middle of the ocean and you start swimming. Now, as you are swimming, you have this concern, right? How long will I be able to swim? Am I going to be attacked by sharks and so forth and so on? All of these things, yeah? And you see an island in the distance and you're, okay, I'm going to swim towards that island because then I'm safe, yeah? Now, about, I would say, 10 minutes out from the island, you see a flotation device to your left or to your right, okay? What are you going to do? Are you going to go to the flotation device or are you going to swim towards the island? The point that I'm making here is, what is the reason for you to swim towards that island, right? It's because you are scared you're going to be exhausted and drowned, right? So you have this flotation device And if you choose not to swim towards that, but continue to go towards the island, maybe you forgot why you initially wanted to go to the flotation device to start with, or to the island. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about here. So what I want to do with you guys is, and I hope the lag isn't too big so we can actually do this. What I want to do with you guys is I want to play the why game. Okay, so try to give me an answer in a very short sentence. Why are you, or why do you want to become a 3D artist? So just give me a really quick answer, a couple of words, right? You know, you want to be a 3D artist because of what? Yeah? Okay, we got all sorts of stuff going on, but I really want to stay on topic, okay? Okay, because you want to work in 3D games. Okay, Alex, question for you. Why? Why do you want to work in 3D games, right? Answer me that. So Jim Newton, known to me as Fixter, is saying, because I want to express myself. And I see some comments, it's my passion, because I love it. Well, Heather is here. Hi, Heather. How are you? Nice to see you here. Heather, I know Heather is a huge Pixar Disney fan, right? So Heather, when you say you love it, what does that mean, right? I see comments, I like it, I love it, it's my passion. I know, but why, right? Why is it your passion? Why do you love it? And this is super, super hard to answer, right? Because when people say, hey, you know, I like it, right? Suddenly you're working in a studio 14 hours a day on some architectural design, right? And you're all bummed out about it because you're not feeling great. You think, where did I go wrong? Because, you know, it's not what you wanted, right? It's super, super hard to have a clear understanding of what it means to say, I want this, I like this, it's my passion, it's all of that, yeah? I'll give you a few examples of conversations I have with people, right? People that are in the industry. They will say, well, I originally wanted to work in games, but now I work for an architectural studio. Or, yes, it was discussed in ICE, exactly. Stuff like that, right? If you have the goal to become a 3D artist, that is not a goal, right? I mean, it's a goal, sure, but that is not a fulfilling goal, because what does that mean? And what does that mean to you? So when people say, you know, oh, I don't know what to model, or I have a creative block, or I'm not liking my job, I'm not liking my school, the school isn't teaching me what I want, most likely this is because you don't know what you want. Now that sounds awful, right? But the thing is this, to answer the question what you want is super complex. And why am I saying that? Because it took me years to figure out what I wanted, right? To define it in a way that it's helpful for you to not get stuck, or to not lose it, right? So for example, the reason why I wanted to be, right, and I want to be a 3D artist is because I want to be able to visualize my creative stories or my mindset. I have a very creative imagination. I love movies, I love books, I love animated movies. And what I want is a method for me to express that in a visual way. That can be anything. That can be photography, it can be drawing, it can be painting, it can be 3D, it can be all of that, right? Now, if I simply say, hey, I want to be a 3D artist, what does that mean, right? Because what part of being a 3D artist will make me happy? Well, the part where I get to express myself. Okay, now let's say I'm working in a studio. Will that studio allow me to tell my story? Probably not, right? They're going to give me a script and they're going to say, here's the story, model this and this prop, and it needs to be done by Friday or whatever, yeah? So that wouldn't be fulfilling for me at all. So one of the reasons why I work as a freelance artist is because of that. Yeah. And yeah, so give me some feedback, guys. Right? I'll just read what you guys going on here. Let's see. Want to illustrate story of my people. Oh, that's very interesting. That's I would love to hear more about that. And let's see here. Have a positive impact on people because the world is full of evil and madness. I agree. I agree totally. Now, know thyself first. Well, Jim, I'm just going to say Jim. I don't usually call you Jim, but then people know who I'm talking to, right? There's a Chinese proverb, right? And it says something like that self-knowledge is the key to success, right? So if you know who you are and what you want, it's a good base to go from. People get stressed and frustrated when they move away from their goal without knowing it. Now, I have to explain that, right? And I know this may sound a bit vague, but I'm trying to find the right wording for this, yeah? So again, let's take that island situation. So I'm in a shipwreck, I'm in the middle of the ocean, I'm swimming towards an island. What is my main goal here? My main goal is to get out of the water before I get exhausted and drown, right? That's my main goal. So why is it that I don't deviate from that plan to swim towards that island, even if I have other opportunities that will do the same thing? It's because I lost my focus on what my goal was. The way for me to not get stressed, not get frustrated, and when I say stressed, I mean negative stress, because positive stress can be a good thing. What I do is I clearly define on a piece of paper, right, or wherever, what my goal is and why it is my goal. Whenever something happens in my work life, I can always grab back to that, right? I can look at it and say, okay, does this still fit what I'm doing? Let's say, I don't know, Pixar gives me a call and says, hey, Pixar, or Pixar says, Mike, you need to come and work for us, yeah? Cool. Now, I'm probably going to say yes because, hey, it's Pixar, right? And everybody wants to work at Pixar and blah, blah, blah. There's my first mistake. Should I go and work at Pixar because everybody wants to work at Pixar? No, it's about you. It's not about what the world thinks of you. That brings me to another point. When you're new in 3D, you are working on things, and because you don't have that experience yet, you are looking at people around you, and they are, talking about, hey, what should I do to get noticed? What should I do to get hired? And so forth and so on. So you're starting to look at other people. And I'm not saying you're copying their work, but you are working towards the same goals. You need to stay close to yourself. The only person you are competing with from a creative standpoint is you. I'm not saying being inspired. I'm saying, you need to be challenging yourself and nobody else, right? Can any of you give me an example of how you got stuck, right? Creatively, I don't know what to work on. I don't know what to model on. I don't like my education. I don't like my job, anything like that. Yeah? Let me read some comments here. So Jim's saying, want to see Mary Ann and Gilligan. I think you have to be as old as me, Jim, to know what that means. Okay. How do you get through a burnout on an ongoing project? Well, Kelly, the thing is this. I wouldn't use the phrase burnout lightly. I mean, if you're talking about a serious burnout, which is a really, really serious thing, yeah, you are tied into that for years. You can have a burnout that will take a year or 2 years, yeah? So what you probably mean is, okay, what if you just get stuck on an ongoing project, right? The thing is, think about why you started the project to begin with. Is it your project? Is it your personal project? Is it because you want to tell a story? Because you want to have people focus on a certain topic? Is it because you're working for a studio? So what's your goal here? Yeah. I'll give you a couple of scenarios. Let's say you are working on this project for a studio and you're getting paid for it. Your goal might be, well, I need to make money, right? And then that is your primary thing. You might say it's my own project and, I want to tell my story to a certain group of people, but suddenly you can't reach that group of people anymore. So you can ask yourself, well, is it still a point then to continue with my project? Let's say, I don't know, you are visualizing something like you found a way to cure cancer or whatever, right? I know it sounds ridiculous, but just bear with me. You're working on this and you're really passionate about your project, and then you wake up in the morning, read the paper, and somebody already did that, right? Your whole goal, your focus point is gone. So if you get stuck in your project, understand why. Why are you stuck? What is the problem? Are you having a problem with lack of focus because you don't know what your goal is anymore? Is that the problem, right? And usually it is. Let's see, what else got going on? As an artist, you can still work on your own stuff in spare time. Look at the job as a means to do things you want to do. Exactly. You can have multiple goals. And I did a talk at the ICE conference last week, and one of the things I talked about is Rembrandt. You probably know the painter Rembrandt, right? He did this painting called the Nachtwacht, and it's worth, I don't know, what, 50, 60 million dollars, something like that. Keep in mind, this is a commissioned painting. He never set out to make that painting for himself. For him as well, he needed to pay the bills. He needed to make money, right? And it was a means to an end. By making that painting, he earned enough money to do things he wanted to do. And that's just the simple fact of life, right? So if you are working at a studio to pay the bills and they're having you work on stuff that you don't really enjoy, keep in mind that they are enabling you to work on stuff in your free time that you do enjoy, right? So don't mix up your focus points and don't mix up your goals. See it for what it is. People usually get frustrated because they forget why they're working for that studio. They need to make money, right? Because that money's coming in anyway, they suddenly start to forget, about that, and they get frustrated about creative stuff. So there you go. Yeah. Hang on, guys. My chat window is freezing up, looks like, a little bit. I'll see if I can just, there you go. All righty. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to get through the stuff that's relevant. I worked at ILM and was frustrated, so I left. Okay. Well, one of the things I hear a lot is, especially when people start out, they want to work at DreamWorks, Pixar, Disney, ILM, because those are the big names, and that's where you want to go, because then you've made it, quote unquote, right? The thing is this: it has to have value for you as an individual, and this is exactly what I was talking about. The people around you are pressuring you and telling you what you should find valuable. People will go for the money, right? Because money is this thing where, if you got a whole bunch of money, you're happy. Well, that's not necessarily true at all. So you need to find out what your value is. If you can tell your story and that makes you super happy, then money is less important. If you can only be happy if you got tons of money, then that's your goal. Yeah. So working at ILM and being frustrated, I get that. I mean, the excitement of working for ILM is there until you work for ILM. And if you're lucky, you'll have a great environment to work in. I'm sure you learn some stuff there, but maybe it's not in line with what your passion was. Yeah. Let's see. Konstantin is saying, every day I think about why I do digital art. I haven't found an exact answer yet, but I think it's because of some idea that I haven't found yet. Well, if you don't know, but you know you have to, right? Take individual pieces that you created. Let's say you did a house, you did a prop, you did a character, and so forth, and put them in order of which one you like most. Let's say you like the character the most, yeah? Figure out why you think that is the case. It might be because it is kind of a representation of yourself, right? You want to see yourself in a different light. It can be, whatever reason. And try to figure out what parts of the process you like. Do you like coming up with the story? And then, the 3D modeling and texturing is an afterthought? Or do you enjoy the process of 3D modeling because you can dive into your screen and forget about the world, right? That kind of stuff is important, because if I'm sitting behind my screen and I love doing that kind of stuff, right? And suddenly I get a job and they tell me, you have to get in front of a group of people and talk about why you like modeling, there's a fair chance that I completely hate that, right? If I don't know why, then I might, have a burnout, be frustrated, lose it, and so forth. Yeah. Let's see, Dependra, I'm just 18 and quite good at 3D modeling. I'm now confused and so obsessed with this stuff. I'm confused if I can stick to this. Well, the thing is this, that it's great that you you got some more here. Continue. Can you please suggest a field of 3D? Well, the thing is, I can't suggest a field of 3D because it's not about me, it's about you, right? There's this kind of trap that people fall into, and I think this is one of them. You figure out, and this is not only related to 3D, you figure out that you are good at doing something, right? And people want to be good at things, so you feel you're good at it, so you just go with it because you're good at it. Well, the fact that you're good at it doesn't necessarily mean that you like it, right? So that is not a reason. You need to look at that role in the 3D industry that helps you to do what you want to do. Nobody can tell you that. You have to. So the examples given here were like, okay, because I want to shape my creative ideas into a fantasy world that I could otherwise not create. I want to tell my story. I want to show my people. These are legitimate focal points, right? So you need to ask yourself, why do you want to be in 3D modeling? What do you want to achieve? Or what will make you happy? Very hard question to answer, especially if you're 18. Yeah. Let's see, creating 3D model for showreels, upload an ArtStation, applying for companies, but no replies. Can you suggest something? Well, I normally would do for sure, but like I said, we're staying on topic here today, so I'm going to skip that, sorry. Let's see, Jim saying, yeah, at times you can be your worst critic, especially when you feel your work is falling short of what you envision in your mind. Yes, correct. And that can be twofold. You can be unhappy with the technical quality of a model because it's not expressing your thoughts the way you wanted it to, or it can be a perfect model, but it's not telling your story. Now, the last one is even worse because the element of the story is, in my opinion, always more important. And I gave this example in a previous live stream where you can have a Hollywood movie with a budget of 200 million and it can be horrible. You can have a super low budget movie like Blair Witch Project, right? That was a huge hit because the story, if the story is great, people will forgive you for lack of quality. The other way around, not so much, yeah? So if you get really critical about your own work, then step back and say, what am I doing with this? I'm creating this object, this environment, this character. Why am I creating it? And what is my purpose? What I'm going to show this to people or not, right? Maybe it's your purpose to keep it to yourself and just express yourself. But if you're going to share it with the world, what do you want them to see? What do you want them to hear? Do you think whatever you made does the job or not? If it doesn't, it's frustrating. And especially if you don't know why it isn't. So you created something and you're like, yeah, I don't know. It's not there. I don't know what's missing. and you're adding all sorts of stuff, and usually less is more, right? The less stuff you put on it, the stronger the message. If you can tell a story with 4 lines on a piece of paper, that's a much more powerful message than spending 400 hours on a character that nobody gets, right? Let's see. Do I think enrolling in a course that is off topic? Sorry, guys. I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff going on there. Okay, a whole bunch of stuff about Instagram, etc. I like my new job as an animator at a bigger firm. I joined them because they claim to have flexible work roles. I want to feel accepted and allowed to grow. Is that not true? If that's not true, I'll have to leave. Okay. Now, the thing is this. You mentioned you want to feel accepted and you want to grow. Okay, that's a good point. Again, we're going to do the why game. Why do you want to feel accepted? This may sound odd, okay, because you probably say, well, all people want to be accepted. Well, maybe you just want to sit in a room in a corner somewhere in the dark and do your thing and have people leave you alone, right? It's kind of your personality. So if it's important to you to feel accepted, then that's a thing. You want to be allowed to grow. Why do you want to grow as a 3D artist? And again, it might sound like a stupid question. There are people out there that are perfectly fine doing the same thing over and over all day long. And it's their kind of mantra type deal. You know, everybody leaves them alone. They're in their zone. They don't have to think about what they're doing, and it's all good. Apparently, you as an individual want to grow, right? Now, do you want to grow as a person or do you want to grow as a 3D artist, or both? Is that important? Yes, because maybe you can find that growth outside of that role as a 3D artist, and you don't have to have that fulfilled in that job, right? So again, ask yourself, why do you have the need to be accepted? Why do you want to grow? Is it because they are holding you back from achieving your goal? And if that's the case, what is that goal, right? Okay, let's see. Jazz is saying, I think I'm not a good 3D artist. How to overcome this? Well, if you think you're not a good 3D artist, then it's probably based on a comparison. So you're looking at your work and you look at somebody else's work and they're way better and all that, right? And then you get self-doubt and you know, I can't do this and people hate my work. And then you got this whole social media thing, you know, people are crapping all over it and it's horrible, yeah? The thing is this, every single person out there, whether they're the best in the world, all of them started by opening up Maya or 3ds Max or ZBrush or whatever, and they had no freaking clue. They didn't even know how to make a cube. That is the same for each and every person out there, anywhere, ever, right? So that's one thing, because on social media, people will kind of put you down and they're like, oh, you know, you don't know what you're doing or whatever. The people that say that are the worst because these people had the same problem. Now, the second thing is you're comparing your work to that of others, and you shouldn't. You can be inspired by other people's work, but you are trying to grow as an artist. You are, right? So you're not trying to be better than Jim or Pete or Linda or whatever. You are trying to be better than you. So you need to compare your work with your work a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. That's really the only thing that matters, because you are who you are. And if you hit that point where your work is getting better and better, you will notice. People will give you feedback, but somebody telling you what you are doesn't make it so, right? And I'll give you an example. Look at people like Tim Burton. Tim Burton does stop motion animation, right? He has a very unique style. When he started out, people said he's nuts, right? And they didn't even want to talk to him because this guy is completely nuts. Look at a director called Quentin Tarantino. Now, everybody thinks he's nuts. He makes cult movies that are world renowned and super popular. So if you want to be like everybody else, you'll be treated like everybody else because you're one in a million. Yeah. If you want to be unique and creative and be noticed, focus on being you and focus on growing yourself as a 3D artist. Yeah. Let me know if that makes sense. Dependra is saying, what demotivates me is after working in Maya for 3-4 years, we cannot create stuff which is created by Blender artists who just given 1 year. I don't know your work specifically. I can't comment on that. But the thing is this, the ability to create something doesn't make you a great artist, right? It says something about your technical ability, and Blender is not Maya, right? And you can argue whether it's the same or not, whether it has the same value or not, right? But that's not what it's about. We talked about why you are a 3D artist, why you want to be a 3D artist, okay? Now, if you go and work for, let's say, a studio, the studio wants you as a 3D artist for a reason. Not just because you have the technical ability to model something, but you have the ability to interpret the story they want to tell and add value in helping them telling that story. That is your role as a 3D artist. Why is it that more companies work with Maya than with Blender, right? You answer that for yourself. Again, you're looking at people working in Blender after 1 year. Does it matter? Does it matter that they can do things better after 1 year? It doesn't at all, because it's not you, it's somebody else. Is that frustrating? Why? Because you are comparing yourself with them and with their work. Don't do that, right? And I always give the same example. If you could only work as a 3D artist, if you were the best in the world, there would be one 3D artist, and there are millions. So I give this example of a baker making bread, right? Every village, how small even, has a bakery or somebody's making bread. Are they all the best in the world? No, of course not. But there's a place for them. There's a reason for them that they're there. Yeah. So stop looking at other people and make your own plan, because it's distracting. It pulls you away from your focus. It makes you uncertain, and people will pile onto that by literally telling you that your work is not good because they want to rattle you, so you will give up and quit, and that's just horrible. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, let's keep it on topic. That's exactly what I realized. And it changed my whole perception. Right on point, Mike. Very welcome, Christian. The thing is, if you focus on your own work from a month ago, 6 months ago, and so forth, it's always positive because there's always growth, right? I mean, you're always going to find somebody out there that's better than you. I mean, heck, like I would say most people are better than me, right? By a long shot. It's about the value you bring to the table, either for yourself or for somebody else. If you're doing something that makes you happy, what do you care that somebody else out there is a better modeler? It doesn't matter. This is not a competition where you get a ribbon because you're better than the other guy, right? If you can do what you want to do and you are happy about it and you're making money doing that, you're all good, right? Let's see. My cousin used to work at DreamWorks as a character TD, but he left after 5 years due to be burned out. I worry that will happen to me at some point. Well, the thing is, you're mentioning DreamWorks, and I don't want to be negative about DreamWorks, but let's just say big studios, right? When you're working for a big studio, you are maybe one of 200 people or one of 500 people working on something, which means that there's usually little room for you to focus on your personal goal. If you are working in a studio with 3 people, you have much more creative space because all the work done in that studio is done by these 3 people, right? You have a lot more input. You can have creative ideas. You'll probably be allowed to do that and so forth. If you're working in a studio, a big studio, everything is regulated and planned, and it's by week and by day and deadlines and all that. And you are very much restricted in what your role is. If you want to express yourself creatively, that is super frustrating. You're always working on something that you don't feel will satisfy you, right? And that eventually will lead to a burnout. And why do people don't leave sooner? Hey, it's DreamWorks. And again, what does that matter? What does it matter that it's DreamWorks? Why do you want to work at DreamWorks? Everybody I talk to wants to work at Pixar. What do you want to work at Pixar for? Well, yeah, it's Pixar. So what does that mean? Does that mean you are therefore a better artist? No, it doesn't. Let's see. Okay, some discussions about some other stuff. I realize I need this talk more than I thought. And it's instantly enlightened the creative pressure on my shoulders already. Thanks, Mike. Well, you are very welcome, Kathy. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I mean, and I know that a lot of you are struggling out there, and with the world the way it is, for the last year, hey, at the end of the day, and trust me, I've been around a while, right? At the end of the day, if you jump out of bed in the morning because you're excited about whatever you're going to do, that's so important. And the role that I have today is, I would almost say by design. I thought a lot about what I wanted and how I wanted to achieve this. And then I made a plan and I said, well, I want to have freedom to work on what I want to work on. So I can't work at a big studio. I can usually not even work at a small studio. I will make stuff for studios on occasion, right? And, to pay the bills. I love the interaction with people. So I do the consultancy stuff. I work freelance for clients. And every day is different. Every day is creative. And I have tons and tons of opportunities to do my thing, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But don't let the world tell you who you are. I mean, the reality of life is, yeah, you got to make money. But if you decide, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and flip burgers at McDonald's to pay the bills, right? And I'm going to spend my evenings working on 3D for fun. There's nothing wrong with that. If that is what you want, great. But don't have other people tell you what to do. Yeah. Let's see here. Do you think you can perfect yourself as a 3D animator without a degree or certificate at learning 3D animation? Okay, well it's off topic. It's really off topic. But to give you a really quick answer, no, you don't necessarily need it. It's great if you have it, but if you can show the value without that, it's fine. What you were explaining is true, Mike, as I'm still learning and yet experience it right now, the burnout, boredom, tiredness. Well, Tommy, that is, first of all, too bad. Second, something you definitely need to do something about. And the best way I have found is to literally just take a couple of steps back, right? Take a break from whatever you're doing, if possible, for, I don't know, half a day, or whatever, a week, right? Do something completely different. What a lot of 3D artists do is they get so focused on whatever they're doing that they shut off all the inputs that help them to be creative. They stop reading books, they stop watching movies, they stop hanging out with friends because I need to know what this button means in Maya and I need to know what that button means in 3ds Max, right? And they're sitting behind their computer 10 hours a day. And the whole idea of being a 3D artist is understanding the world around you so you can help tell a story. That's your job, right? There are people out there that are 3D artists. They are scared to pick up a phone. They're scared to talk to another person in real life, right? That's horrible because your primary job, whether you are working in the movies, in the game industry, or even for a product sale, right? Your job is to help tell the client's story. If you don't understand the world and you don't understand culture and you don't understand people, how are you going to be valuable to anyone? So take a step back, get new impulses, and figure out why you got into this in the first place. Yeah. You are learning things for the heck of learning things, but are they bringing you closer to your goal? So one trick to make sure that you don't get super frustrated is this. Spend, I don't know, I don't care if it's the entire evening, ask yourself, do the why game. I want to be a 3D artist. Why? Well, because I like to tell stories. Why? Well, because I hate my life. Why? Well, because my upbringing was crap. Okay. Why? Well, because, and so forth. So you come up with alternative realities, and you have this urge to tell that story and to make it visual. So now you know why you do what you do. Write it on a piece of paper, stick it on the wall. Yeah. Every time something happens, your boss asks you something, there's a job opportunity, you can make more money, I don't care what it is. You look at that piece of paper and you say, will this opportunity get me closer to that goal or further away from that goal? That's the only thing that matters. And if you're true to yourself and you're honest, you will say, I don't know, you'll say no to that Pixar job, right? Just an example. Okay, make sense? Let's see here. Okay, to be fair, I love to create something, but I'm not good at it. Well, that's fine. It all depends on who you're making it for. If you're making it for yourself and you're happy about it, it's cool. Yeah. Let's see. Heather is saying bringing a character to life. That makes sense to me. Totally. Okay, we got this whole discussion going on about all sorts of stuff. Let's see. Right, I do enjoy the process of creating either a story or a model or even a character, but I always feel like my work isn't good compared to others. Again, right, others. Don't care about others, right? Care about you and how you can improve. And you know for yourself, right, you know what it is that makes you tick and why you want to do it. Yeah. So Nestor came on board. Hey buddy, how are you? Is the story more important or the CGI? Well, I know I'm going to get into trouble if I answer that question. If I say the CGI is more important, then people will say, oh, that's not true because of it's bad CGI and so forth. But the thing is this, the CGI is there to support the story, not the other way around. So the story is always king, right? Do I like bad CGI? Of course not. But if the story is not good, the best CGI in the world won't fix it, right? My tutorials are very helpful. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Mike, good day. I have been following you since my college days, and now I'm graduating at my university. You are such a great help with those beginner tutorials. God bless. Thank you so much, Russell. Appreciate that. Alex saying, I'm in a school project and the other members aren't as motivated or work as hard. That is demotivating to me. Okay, well, the problem in a school project is that you're looking for external recognition. That's how a school works, right? If you get into a situation like that, there are basically two things you can do. One is to invest energy to get the others motivated, because that will help them and you. But you might think, hey, that's not my job. The second thing you can do is to get out of it what you can get out of it for yourself, right? I mean, if they're not willing, try to see if you can switch team members, I don't know, talk to your teacher about it and so forth. If other people, I mean, as a non-student, right, if I'm working with people and I'm not motivated, I'm just going to stop working with them. And I understand that's not you can't do that, but it makes sense that that's demotivating. Let's see. George is saying, do you think it will hurt you in the long run if you use online assets, but never create your own models? This kind of depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you claim to be a 3D artist and you're doing this, that's a big no-no, right? You can't. If you say, hey, I'm not a 3D artist, I'm a storyteller, right? And I get 3D assets online to tell stories, that's fine. That's what other people do as well. It's kind of how you're presenting yourself. Yeah. Victorious, cool name. I already study 3D modeling, sculpting, and I want to start making action figures, board games, etc. So my question is, would that be worth it? Well, first of all, that's off topic. Second, action figures and board games are exactly my point as to what is your goal, right? That sounds really confusing to me. Jazz is asking for some help. Okay, I challenge you with consistency. Okay, do you mean consistency? So the BPOLC is saying consistence problems. Consistently being on a certain technical level, consistently being creative, consistently spending the same amount of time per day on your work. Where do you have the problems? Is it a planning issue? Is it a creative issue? What is it? Okay, I'm just gonna skip all the comments that are non-topic. Okay, I was trying to learn ZBrush from your channel. You had a video of creating a crane. Okay, so Dependra, I have a ZBrush playlist on my channel. Blender community is bigger. Yeah, could be. How to break down a reference, again, off topic. Blender has okay. Okay, so glad. Okay, procrastinating is very bad in my case. What do you suggest to keep going? Like how much time or what models should I do as a fresher? Okay, well, the thing is, if you don't have that experience just yet, right, you don't have that flow yet, what I do is I make a week plan. So I will, I work freelance, which is different than working for a studio, but I will block out certain times a day where I spend time on certain things. I have to do everything. I have to do the sales process and contracts and, paperwork and all that. But in addition, check my emails, work on client projects and so on. My advice is don't spend too much time on the same thing in one go unless you're really into it. But that's where you become less productive. If you're modeling on something for 10 hours straight, you're going to lose focus. You're going to get tired of it. You're going to get sick of it. Don't do that. Especially as a fresher, try to get as much general information as possible. So switch topics a lot. Model on some props, model on some environments, do some texturing, do some rigging, do some animating. You don't have to be an expert in all of it, but at least dip your toes in, yeah? Let's see, I want to live a life outside of work as well, which was really important in why I want to stay with the firm. Well, there you go. I mean, it's facilitating. Working for a company gives you security, financial security, and other security that will allow you to pursue your dreams. Now, these dreams don't necessarily have to be paid. It's perfectly fine if you decide, hey, listen, I'm happy with my 3D models to do it for fun, and that's it. That's okay. If you slowly want to become a freelance artist over time, and you want to work for a company until the point where you can actually make that switch, that's fine too. That's what I did, yeah. Let's see, what job will be getting by learning Maya product design? Okay, well, that's very off topic. And second, you don't get a job because you've learned Maya product designer and so forth. You go out and find a job, which is a really different thing. Mike's question that might be in an interview. Questions that might be in an interview. Jazz, I did a series, a 10-part series about becoming a freelance artist, and it also applies to people working for a studio, and I covered everything, including interviews, yeah? And I actually made a specific video on the interview process, so check my channel. Hang on, I think yeah, there you go. How would you prevent the constant pressure to work and improve won't take its toll on your mental health? How can you recognize your boundaries? Well, Kathy, that is an excellent question. That is exactly the whole point of this live stream, right? The thing is, if you define your world as a 3D artist by external influences, then you're having people tell you who you need to be. The further away that is from your comfort zone, right, the more stress it will cause. Now, if it's your goal to grow and you are okay with that stress, then you will expand your comfort zone. But if you're perfectly happy with where you are, then you define who you are and you find a role that fits who you are right now, right? That's the difference. The stress and the toll on your mental health is constantly being somebody that you are not, somebody that you don't want to be, somebody that you can't feel okay with, working in an environment you're not okay with, and all that. Now, you don't always have that freedom because sometimes, it's just life and you have to pay the bills, right? But if you can, then make a plan to get out of that situation, right? I don't know, start a web shop or something, sell your own 3D models, work for the local bakery where you make a 3D logo for $50, whatever you need to do, right? Let's see. Tang is saying, I feel personally attacked here. I'm not sure why. Please explain. How's the community? Hey, Mike. Hey, how are you? Choosing a limited style or going for something stylized or easy is being lazy? No, not at all. If your goal is to get hired by a studio typically likes it when you have your own style, but can also follow an existing style. Because if you get asked to help on a project by Disney or whatever, right, they want to see that you're able to do that. Do I think Epic Games will buy Maya? I don't think so. Let's see. Can you advise on transitioning from following tutorials to make your own stuff? That is really off topic. Sorry. Let's see. Lady Cartoon saying hello. Hey, how are you? Fixture focus can be a problem in this industry. You're working on modeling and you see something great. Yeah, I agree. There are a whole bunch of distractions. And again, that is why it is so super, super hard to hold on to what you have defined as your goal. I mean, the grass is always greener, right? That's what they say. You need to think about this every day. Why do I do what I do? Am I still happy doing this? Do I need to adjust what I want? Is it for the right reasons? I mean, for example, there are people that want to drive a Ferrari, right? Because other people will think you're cool. Is that a good reason? Other people drive a Ferrari because they love sports cars. Everybody has a different reason, right? And you only have to look at your reasons, because somebody else's reason, it doesn't matter, right? Let's see. I love working with people and I love being creative, telling a story together for the client. That's why I like it. And I think that's a good, very good reason and a good goal. And if you're in a work environment where you have the ability to give that input to actually help tell a story, perfect. B-Pulk, you're my biggest inspiration. I started 1 year ago and now I joined the animation school. So thank you. Well, you're very welcome. Thanks so much. Excuse me. How to get back to 3D modeling and texturing after being not able to do anything lately. When I turned on my PC and start Maya, I couldn't do anything. Can't even start like I used to. Okay, well, is that because you don't remember or because you're not feeling it? Big difference, right? And it's totally okay to start over. Maybe you have a new focus, but it's different from your original one. Your original focus was, I want to be a 3D artist, so I'm going to learn all the technical stuff as fast as possible. You maybe got burned out on it or whatever. Now, X time later, you still have that urge to do in 3D, but you're not perfectly sure why, right? Forget about the entire world. Forget about all the pressure out there. Just sit behind your PC and work on some stuff for yourself. Don't talk about it with anyone. Don't show it to anyone. Just, fiddle around in Maya and just get the feeling back, right? And then decide, hey, it's still something I want to do. Let's see here. Sometimes I'm thinking of creating my own company because I have different values from most companies and I want to work with like-minded people. Well, that's why I did it. But keep in mind that there's a lot more to it because you get all the the paperwork stuff, the business stuff, contracts and taxes and legal and all that, right? How do you find one's original style? Well, I can't tell you. I mean, some people never find their own style, and it's just something that's, within yourself. The way to remove motivation out of the picture is to build habits. Okay. Okay, I got a bit of an issue with habit. I would call it a routine. I have a routine for sure. It doesn't remove my motivation at all. If you replace motivation by habit, yes, then you're in trouble. I feel like people rely on motivation a lot, but it's a ticking bomb. If you're struggling, well, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I mean, you can't always be motivated. You can't always be passionate. Sometimes you're working on something that just, you hate it, right? That's just life. Thing is, you need to be professional. You need to have the process and the work ethic and all of that to continue and do a good job and do a professional job, even if you're not having fun, right? So if you solely want to rely on your motivation, for sure, you're going to hit a wall at some point. Okay, Jazz, Mike, what if I want to learn from you one-on-one? Okay, so I have a Patreon page where I have a level that includes a one-on-one personal Skype once a month. What I do is I talk to you person to person for a month, and we talk about homework and things you can work on and so forth, because there's no point in me sitting next to you while you're doing all that. And then we review your work next time, and we talk about it and where you want to go from there and that kind of thing. Yeah, especially if you're looking into gaining business knowledge to become better as a 3D artist. Yeah. Peter's Animation. Hey, how are you? Let's see. A student, how to improve time management when you are modeling in Maya. Make a schedule. Make a schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth. And don't go minute by minute, but just block out time for certain things. And you can adjust your planning, but don't just go down that rabbit hole where you're starting to model something in Maya. Suddenly it's midnight and you forgot to do all the other stuff. Yeah. Making 3D models by watching tutorials. Is that okay? Of course, that's what they're for. Let's see. I'm building my portfolio to get a job. Where should I post them to get real criticism? It's off topic, but I would say go and find appropriate forums online, social media. Can you make a living as a 3D artist? Obviously, because there are many out there that do so. Yeah. Okay, guys, we're at 58 minutes. I usually want to kind of round it off at 1 full hour. So cool that all of you guys are here. Just so you know that videos like this, these live streams, they're available to patrons and channel members, so they can play it back anytime they want. Yeah, let's see. We'll do 1 or 2 more questions, okay? Any advice for an older guy, 35, about to start a new career in game environments? Well, first of all, 35 is not old. I know a lot of people that started way later than that. And I would suggest that you first spend some time on orientation. Look at every video you can find on YouTube about game environments, right? Do your homework, figure out what type of roles are out there, what's involved in that kind of job. Is it something you think you would like? What software do they use? What's the learning curve? How long would it take? Is it expensive? Do you need an education? Answer all these questions for yourself, and it will slowly guide you towards the answer to the why question. Yeah? Now let's see, more than 10 years professional experience with Solid Edge for about 5 months. Had access to Maya and to academic materials, and I love it. Cool. Well, let me tell you this, though, because a lot of people don't know this. I had a whole debate last time in the live stream where people were saying, oh, Maya is way too expensive, and I have to go to Blender and all that. Maya right now is dirt cheap, right? A lot of people moved away from Maya to Blender because they couldn't get a student license anymore, and it was way too expensive. you can get a full year commercial use Maya Indie license, right? It's a full package, everything on it, does everything. You can use commercially for less than $400 a year, right? That's right, a year. It used to be about that a month. So I don't see any reason for anyone not to continue working with Maya if they want to. Yeah? Okay. All right. Yeah, let's do one more question, guys. Okay, one more. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. My indie license only available in limited territories. I didn't know that. It's the first time I hear that, though. Let's see. I'm new to 3D modeling. I started using Maya. I watched a lot of tutorials and took one course of Maya, but still I feel like there are a lot of things I don't know. I don't feel like an artist. Well, the thing is this. If you are learning Maya, you're learning, okay, what does this button do? What does that function do? And so forth. And you're kind of, I wouldn't say copying somebody, but you're learning technical functionality. That is not what an artist does. An artist doesn't really think about these buttons. An artist is expressing themselves using tools that they know how to use. So somebody's painting knows about paint and brushes. Somebody's drawing knows about, shading and pencils and whatever. 3D artist knows about the buttons. So don't worry about that. Get started, learn the buttons, learn the functions, and once you get comfortable with that, then you will start to move towards feeling more like an artist. Yeah. Dropped out of college because internet content was just better. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, guys. Well, that's it for me. We're 1 hour in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. Yeah, Fixer saying $280 US. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. It would mean the world to me if you guys would check out my YouTube channel, and if you are so inclined, sub to that channel, because YouTube is giving us content creators a very hard time. So yeah, smash that button. It would make my day. Thank you guys so much for taking your time out of your busy day and hanging out with me, right? So yeah, thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.